Nkiru, Kiki, Onyejekwe, the story. Papa Ibadan and Mama Nana, Mr. and Mrs. Onyejekwe, lived in Ibadan. They already had 4 children, Azubuike, Anana, Onyechi, and Okechiku. Mama Nana was pregnant and due anytime. There was excitement in the air. They all anxiously awaited the arrival of their bundle of joy. There were bets between the children about whether the baby would be a boy or a girl. Anana wanted a baby sister, which was understandable, as she was the only female amongst boys. Papa Ibadan, her dad, didn't care what the baby's sex was. All he wanted was a safe delivery and a healthy baby and mother. It was a quiet Sunday evening on the 5th of July, 1953. Mama Nana was winding down after an activity-filled day when she started to feel the telltale signs of labor. From her previous experience, she knew it was time to start heading to the maternity ward. She was quickly taken to the hospital, and there she delivered a beautiful baby girl. The baby looked delicate like most babies do. She could be described as your classic sweet brown sugar. She had chocolate brown skin, smooth as silk, beautiful large brown eyes, and a head full of soft black curly hair. She looked a lot like her mother. Her father, Barrister Robert Onyejekwe, Papa Ibadan, was thrilled to have the baby and mother back home in good health. His prayers had been answered. This lovely baby turned out to be the last child of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Onyejekwe. They named her Nkiru, that which is ahead is greater, and Bernadette, which means blessed. There's indeed everything to a name. As Nkiru was the last child of her parents, her older siblings doted on her, and so did her uncles and aunts. She was a very happy child and soon became the child of every uncle and aunt. She was often teased, being called her Uncle C's first daughter or her Auntie Val's daughter. Her maternal grandparents were also quite present in her life. In fact, her grandfather was convinced that she was his mother, Uzoichi, who he believed had come back to life. Nkiru was a boisterous, happy child with a great sense of humor. Her childhood was full of love and affection. One often heard funny anecdotes and incidences between her and her grandparents, uncles, and aunties. She was a bridge between the older generation and the younger ones. This was something she was able to do because of her personality. She was bold and unafraid. She was also quite outspoken and confident. Her aunties and uncles called her Kuras, and the younger ones called her Cousin Kiki. Nkiru, Kiki, came from a long line of powerful, dynamic women. Her mother was the first child of His Royal Highness Atamanya Nzedegu, the second of Osomala and Agnes Idu Olisa near Okwesa, the first daughter of Francis Okwesa of Umu Onyogu in Osomala. The Okwesa and Olisa sides of the family were, and still are, very closely knit. Nkiru was their daughter, sister, cousin, and aunt. One cannot do Kiki justice without acknowledging the fact that she was the product of a long line of strong, formidable, and successful women. From her mom, one of the pioneer students of Queen's College, Lagos, and the personal assistant to Mrs. Nnamdi Azikiwe, to her grandmother, who was a thriving textile trader and dressmaker, her great-grandmother was a powerful and gifted midwife and herbalist. Omukwe, the merchant queen of the Niger, was her grand aunt. Little wonder, she was a strong and determined woman. The Onyejekwes of Oboleke, Umosuma kindred, in Onitsha, North Local Government Area, her paternal family, were also a large, educated, and enlightened family. Her father, Ozoma Robert Nwanchukwu Onyejekwe, attended the famous Dennis Memorial Grammar School in Onitsha. He joined the Nigeria Police Department as a clerk. From there, He proceeded to England to study law. He was called to the English bar at Lincoln's Inn in 1958. Upon his return, he set up a successful legal practice. He was a solicitor for the Nigeria Railway Corporation, Lagos. After the Civil War, he was chief magistrate in the Nigerian judiciary. He worked mainly in northern Nigeria. Ozoma was an Ozo-titled man. Kiki definitely did come from great stock. Education. Kiki attended Our Lady of Apostles Private School, Yaba. She attended St. Anne's Secondary School in Ibadan, where she was appointed the head girl of her school under Miss Grooves. Kiki and her cousin, the late Chinwediki, attended Queen's School in Enugu for a short while. She finished off at Queen of the Rosary College, Onitsha. She attended the University of Ibadan to further her education, where she studied theater arts. She was posted to Abeokuta for her National Youth Service and was among the corpers chosen to go to Lagos to coordinate the international festival, Festac 77, the Second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture. She was attached to the National Stadium. After her youth service, she obtained a master's degree in advertising and public relations from Boston University in Massachusetts. Professional life. Kiki worked in Grant Advertising Agency as a copywriter and in many other capacities. After her time at Grant Advertising, she landed her dream job at Nigeria Airways. Her colleagues described her as the woman who was able to create something out of nothing. She didn't limit herself to core advertising. She expanded to television, radio, outdoor advertising, point of sale, promotional items, Sky Power magazine, in-flight entertainment, trade fairs, and more. Kiki was involved with a lot of milestones that took place for the airlines, from opening the Lagos-Dubai routes to facilitating the strategic partnership for Nigeria Airways and the Super Eagles for USA 94. At some point in her career, she was relieved of her duties in Nigeria Airways due to downsizing. Immediately, she opened Kik's restaurant on Okwebi Road while she fought for what was hers. She was eventually reinstated back to Nigeria Airways, made general manager, and created the first customer service department at Nigeria Airways. Under her supervision were advertising, customer service, and the airport lounges. She worked in that position until Nigeria Airways was dissolved. After her retirement, she moved to Ghana to begin a remarkable life. She consulted for the Ghana Airports Authorities regarding their digital and airport advertising. She also supplied furniture, airport trolleys, and advertising screens for Ghana's Kotoka International Airport. Alongside consulting with the Ghana Airport Authorities, she had a lounge and restaurant called Karafs at East Legon, Accra. She owned her beach house in Krokrobite, a shortlet for local and international tourists. In her later years, she built a beautiful 7-bedroom resort home in the Aburi Mountains, which she named Casa Rob Nello. She lived and ran Rob Nello under the Airbnb platform. Social interactions. Kiki was an extrovert, a people person. Family and friendships were important, precious, and sacred to her. She often went out of her way for her family and friends and was always on the side of the underdog. One could describe her as dependable and kind-hearted, even though you didn't want to be on her wrong side. Anyone that knew Kiki knew she was a giver. She was very helpful to various communities in Accra. She supported a center for the elderly and assisted children with struggling parents. Hobbies. Kiki was into living a healthy lifestyle. She watched what she ate, she exercised regularly, and enjoyed spending time with her friends, wining and dining. Kiki had friends from all over the world and enjoyed to travel. She explored various parts of the world and lived life to the fullest. Family. Kiki met and married Mr. Oluyomi George Taylor in 1982. The marriage was blessed with 2 lovely children, who she loved and doted on, Buki and Femi George Taylor. They both blessed her with 2 grandchildren, Onualoba Tarie Williams and Azariah George Taylor. Even though Kiki had 2 biological children, she had plenty of other children who were not her biological children. She was always in their lives, listening to them, advising and encouraging them, and taking on their problems like they were her real children. God. Kiki loved God. She was a devout Catholic and spent a great deal of time praying. She had been fasting and praying for 100 days in her last days. God loved her too. Everything in life comes full circle. Like the Igbos say, everything that has a beginning also has an end. The journey of life here on earth as we know it starts at birth and ends when one takes their last breath. Some people are fortunate to know when their time is up, while others are not. Cousin Kiki, as she was fondly called, was expected in Lagos on the 31st of July. She did arrive in Lagos on that day. In her usual manner, she always came bearing gifts for everyone. She had called a couple of friends on that day to pick up their gifts the next day, but by the morning of the 1st of August at about 3:30 a.m., she passed away peacefully as she slept. She had embarked on that inevitable journey, the journey that we all as humans must embark on. Another realm, another life, another existence in another dimension. Dearest Kiki, even though you may have continued on your journey, we know and believe that you are still with us. A piece of you dwells in the hearts of everyone whose life you impacted in one way or another. You shared laughter, joy, and happiness with everyone that you came across. Her family and friends are all grateful for the opportunity to have known you and called you daughter, sister, wife, mother, auntie, cousin, niece, friend, and boss. Like the name Nkiru states, that which is ahead is greater. So dearest Kiki, Nkiru Bernadette Onyejekwe, Adozoma na Amalunweze, Wanyazubuike, Anana na Oke Chuku, Nebuki, na Femi, Laru Ofoma. Nkiru leaves behind 2 children. Femi George Taylor, a data governance manager at Taylor Wimpey in London, and Dr. Buki George Taylor, an author and the CEO of a leading public relations agency, Robert Taylor Media. Continue to soar with the angels.
Onyekere abianu lolanyo, ezinabianu, olisebulu abianu lolanyo. Oginine tugegu, tiyo bigina chuku, chuku buya wendu gabonye nchegi. Oginine tugegu. Chuku na bianu Onyekere abianu lolanyo ezinabianu olisebulu